players born in this city in Major League Baseball. Two of them are Hall of Fame. Which is Orlando Cepeda and Roberto Alomar was also born in Ponce. Actual players in Major League born in our city are Carlos Correa, born in Ponce but raised in another town, and Victor Carabini, who is this year playing with the Houston Astros. This bridge here, so the two lions over there at the start of the bridge, that's the symbol of our city, the lion. We have the lion. Proud, yet we are like a lion, and we want to fight and go. The entrance, official entrance to our city, with the two lions. Also, you might have seen the big letters in the highway. So you can see that we're like very humble. Just like many other cities in Puerto Rico are the same way. Each one is proud of their city, just like many states and cities are proud of their area. So we're going to walk to the museum, and meanwhile, I'm going to explain the history of the park. It's right here next to it. Right? Any questions you have? There's a program, and we'll have some friends that came from San Juan that are going to give you some tour. Yes. Well, we have a problem of stray dogs everywhere. Yeah, they're everywhere.
There's no bears, there's no wolves to eat them, so they just grow.
Yep. The one thing about Puerto Rico is that you can get lost in the mountains and no lion will eat you. So mostly, that's why we got a lot of strays. We don't take them out because the real responsible are the owners. Instead of taking care of them, we'll throw them away. So that's a problem. We can't blame them because they're harmless. So we just try to take them to a shelter as best as we can, but it's getting a little bit more. Exactly. Okay? So let's walk down this way. I'm going to be talking about the history of the park, and friends are going to be waiting for you to another tour.
Héctor Ortiz, que es el director del Museo del Deporte Ponceño, del Millito Navarro, está entonces dirigiendo una caminata a estos jóvenes hasta el museo. Héctor, para que nos describa lo que está pasando.
Estamos recibiendo...
Saludos, los hermanos de la cita.
De Estados Unidos, que están visitando hoy nuestra ciudad de Ponce, explicándole la historia de nuestra ciudad, el puerto de los leones, los ponceños y los leones. Okay, guys, you see a lot of the statues in the area. You see a lot of the statues. Those are the statues of our forefathers of the city. We'll show them to the visitors how important they've been to us in the city. This way, please.
Hot dog in town.
Hot dog Ponceños.
Yo me voy caminando de lado para que todo el mundo me escuche. The school that you see here in front of you is closed right now. It was really the first basketball court in the 1910s. It was the first indoor basketball court with lights. Later on, turned into a school. It was damaged by the hurricanes and the earthquake that we had here in 2020. But now, Olympic Co-op has taken over and they're going to create a sports school. So hopefully in about a couple of months, we'll have judo, taekwondo, and other sports. Because mostly baseball, basketball, we need a bigger area. When you walk now, you're going to see this big walls to your right. That was the first sports stadium or baseball park that we had in the south side of Puerto Rico, built in 1910. Mostly all of our professional teams in the start of baseball played in this park. Professional baseball played in Puerto Rico in 1938. And helped us become a better ball player. Was when teams from the United States, Dominican Republic, Cuba, and the Nicos visited the island. But you know, that's good quality pitching. So we could learn how to play the game the way it was. See this H. Terry, who Charles H. Terry was the one responsible for the park to be built. This was done by the United States Army after the Hispanic-American War. And he was able to get the Army to give these lands to the city of Ponceños to build the park. So that's why you see here, it has his name on top here of one of the entrances. What used to be the bleachers, which is here, what wasn't museum today, because the beginnings of baseball and many sports were schools, either high school or high school. Because at that time we didn't have any professional league. The building that you see in front here, that was the Spanish fort. Because Puerto Rico, before being with the United States, we were by the government of Spain. In 1898, in the Hispanic-American War, the United States won that war and took over the fort. When they got here, they were surprised to see that we were playing baseball. As you know, sport created in the United States. We learned baseball first. So the first island to play baseball was Cuba in 1864. Mostly a lot of the Cubans were studying in the United States, learned the game, and started to show others how to play the game. But they would not play like you guys play today. They didn't have enough equipment, so they had to do it maybe two bases, not the right way, and the measurements were not the right way. So when the Marines arrived, as you could imagine, the relationship between the citizens and the Marines was not the best. It was a war. So mostly they used sports, in this case baseball, to get a good relationship with the youth. Okay? By creating teams, started to make tournaments, and they would play with the locals, baseball and showing the game. So that really helped. And the other recruits to the army, like most of the main things. So mostly that helped. Baseball grew fast, faster than basketball, volleyball, because in those sports you need a certain facilities. Baseball, as you know, all we need is an open land, 4 cardboard boxes, a broomstick, socks, and let's play ball. In the old days, right? But that really helped the sport grow fast. We started playing baseball in 1898. By 1913, a high school team of Puerto Rico beat the All-American team in San Juan, which is part of the Major League players and the AAA players. In 13, 14 years, we learned the game and we got very competitive. Okay. Once the sport grew, they needed a park. They needed a place to play more formally, and they decided to build the stadium. The Marines gave the lands, these lands, to the city of Ponce to build the stadium. And this was the original entrance in 1910. Just sink or wood. Okay. The park was one side, and mostly you'll see it here. Remember the school that I told you about? The basketball court was that? So the basketball court is that. Up there, and so the school over there that's damaged. That's where the basketball court was at. The center field was about 455. The left field was about 390 something, and the left field was the easy one with 335. Okay? There in the painting also you'll see a better idea of the fencing back. Why was 450 something? You can see that the fence had like a hole. So if you got by the outfielder, that was a walking home run, easy. By the time they got to it. Okay? Mostly the building, when they made the baseball park, it helped to make other sports. Because in the old days, there were no convention centers. There were no open lots to do a lot of activities. So besides baseball, circus, dance halls, even race cars. Just car racing in the park itself. But these are the cars that you would have to crack it to run. So even you guys could pick one of these cars running. Also, great players played in this park. For example, Satchel Paige played in this park. Joshua Gibson, William Brown, Frank Robinson played for the Ponce team here in Ponce. This here is Emilio Millito Navarro. He's the first Puerto Rican to play in everyday. It was the first player to be an everyday player in the Negro Leagues. in 1928 with the New York Cuban Stars. He played 2 years in the Negro Leagues, 1928, 1929. Then left to play in Venezuela and then Dominican Republic. In those days, leagues from Venezuela and Dominican Republic were as big as playing in the States, especially for Negro players. They got paid more money out of the United States than they got paid in the States. And they were treated different because of the condition at that moment. Okay? As you might know, in those days, not even in the States, they got paid what they get paid today. No old-time money in that time. But even though, if you check their numbers, they are great, great ball players. Okay? The man that you see in the painting over there is the name of the museum. The museum is named after Francisco Coimbre, who has been the greatest native ball player born in Puerto Rico. When I say native, a lot of people say, wait a minute, what happened to Roberto Clemente? Roberto Clemente has been our best player in the major leagues. In our professional league, Mr. Coimbre has the highest batting average in history with .337 in 13 seasons. He also has a world record. In 13 seasons, he only struck out 20 times. In 13 seasons. He had a stretch of 4 years that he didn't strike out. As you might know, that doesn't mean he didn't do outs. But he had a good eyeball back coordination. He was very smart in the game. We studied the pitches and we know. Satchel Paige, at his already very old, he was asked in the States who was the hardest or the strongest hitter he ever faced. And we expected him to mention somebody in the major leagues. He said, no, Francisco Coimbre from Puerto Rico. So, Pancho Coimbre played in the Negro Leagues with the New York Cubans, played 5 years. The only Puerto Rican out of 41 that played in the Negro Leagues at that time that was elected for the All-Star game three times, which makes him our first big league star. That's why the museum under the The Ponceños, which is our professional team, we've won 11 championships. We're the only team in baseball or Puerto Rico professional league that have won 4 titles, consecutive titles, from 1941 to 1945. And then we won our 5th in 6 years, in 1946 and 1947. All of those 5 championships were won in this stadium. In 1949, the new stadium was built, and we played on Monday. Like you go on Sunday. It was built in 1949, which is our modern stadium still. So we won't see there, we won the other 6 titles during the years. Okay? Any questions? I'm going to take you now with Mr. Jorge Delgado, and then you'll be able to sit down and do your visit. If you have any questions, let me know. You see the Yankees uniform there was Mr. Miguel Navarro passed away at 105. And he was taken to a Yankees game and he had an honor to win the first pitch in the old Yankee Stadium.